So let's move from there. Can we simplify this a little bit? You better hope so, right? Let's simplify it in this way. X minus x naught, let's just call that some distance x. Is that fair? Okay. So that's some distance x. We just say that we started at x0, and so we're always x meters away, if that makes any sense. So that simplifies things a little bit. But you should also be able to show that this ends up being v naught tangent theta times x minus 1/2 g x squared over v naught cosine theta squared. True? Okay. Now, if I want to make this an equation that represents the range of a projectile fired, okay, what that means is I've launched this thing from one point at one height, and I want to know where it's going to end up here, right? So if I start with this idea that x minus x naught is the range, and that y minus y naught for this situation is equal to 0. This here, whoops, is the equation of the path. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Change in velocity as a whole.
Well, what is this equal to? Because I don't have it written in here. All this stuff in terms of x, okay? We got from subbing into something that had to do with the change in y, right? So I really have y as a function of x, correct? Mm-hmm. So any x that I put in, I get a y back, right? Or if I wanted to solve it the other way around, any y that I put in, I get an x back. So for any position along this thing's path, I can get both its height and its distance in the x direction. That's why it's called the equation of the path. If I created a table of values for this function, I would get every point on a y versus x graph that would depict this thing's flight. Does that make sense? Yes? Very useful. Okay, so between that one, then r equals what? V naught cosine theta t. This is boiling things down for a simpler scenario, right? I know that, and I also know this. V naught sine theta t minus 1/2 gt squared. This is kind of a lot, so stick with me. Which means that I can get t is equal to what? I know this is a lot to work through, so stick with it and we'll look it over in a second. T equals what? T equals r over v naught cosine theta right? So can I plug some stuff in here to make this a little easier to look at? To go back to some of the things from earlier, 0 is then equal to v naught sine theta times r over v naught cosine theta minus 1/2 g r squared over v naught cosine theta quantity squared. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that I can start to do here if I want to figure this out for r. So I can get both of these on opposite sides of the equal sign, right? And write this as V naught sine theta r over V naught cosine theta is equal to 1/2 g r squared over V naught cosine theta quantity squared. True? Say yes, it is true. Then what can I do? Cancel some stuff here, right? What else can I get rid of? I can get rid of this guy with one of those, right? And I'm not going to do all of the algebra because it gets to be kind of silly, but I can